Okay, we are on Daf Pei Vav Amid Aleph at the Mishnah, the fourth line in. The Mishnah is going to tell us various halachas that we have a hint in the pasuk to, or a source in the pasuk to. Minayin lepoleta shichva zera. How do we know that a woman, after having relations with a man, and she releases semen, so has semen come out of her that was in her from relations, that even on the third day will still cause tumah? And we know that semen causes tumah of keri. And how do we know that the tumah keri that he would have on the day that he releases it, she would have on the day that she releases it, would be even on the third day? Meaning on the third day, it's still a viable sperm, and therefore the semen having been in her for 2-3 days would still cause keri. But on the fourth day, it no longer can give, it's no longer viable, and therefore it would not cause tumah. So minayin lepoleta shechva zera b'yom hashlishi shetehei tameya, that she would then be tummy. Shenema, for it says here, we'll see a lot about this in the Gemara, that we saw in preparation for receiving Aseres Adibros at Har Sinai, as we read on the first day of Shavuos, and we saw in Parshas Yisro, that Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Hashem that the Bnei Yisrael should separate from women for 3 days in preparation. Now, we'll see a machlekas in the Gemara when that was. Everybody agrees that, like this year, the seventh day of Sivan was on Shabbos, and they received the Aseres Adibros was said on Sinai on Shabbos, and that they came to the Midbar Sin on Rosh Chodesh. So the question is, was that 6 days before or 7 days before Matan Torah? And essentially a machlokas of whether Matan Torah was the Aseres Adibros on Sinai was on Vav Sivan, the 6th day of Sivan, or Zayin Sivan on the 7th day of Sivan. And the question, in order, as we'll see later in the end of this daf, or beginning of the next daf, whether the separation command came on Wednesday or Thursday, and therefore Bnei Yisrael will separate it 2 days or 3 days. Now, of course, on Shabbos, they would not have been tamei, because the purpose of the separation was in order that the women not be tamei from releasing semen from relations that they had. And so, therefore, we can assume that whatever would have come out on Shabbos would not have caused her to be tamei. That being the case, whenever the separation started, we would know that the separation must have been effective and in stopping her from being tummy, or helping her not be tummy at the moment Shabbos came in. And so that's how we're going to be able to know, and we'll learn that from if we know when the command came, that's when I will know that how long it takes. So this Tana in the Mishnah is learning that they were separated for 3 days, and therefore which means the separation came on Wednesday, 3 full days. By the time Shabbos came in, she would no longer be tamei if she expelled some of the zera from her body, and that tells us that it only causes tumah, for 3 days and not for the 4th day. Furthermore, how do we know that even on the 3rd day, of course on the 1st day of the bris and the 2nd day of the bris, you can wash the baby and you can take care of the needs of the patient that had a bris milah, circumcision. But even on the 3rd day, it is still in need of care. And even on Shabbos, we can take care of the baby, even if it means that you're going to do a malacha that's prohibited on Shabbos for the need of the ill. You're going to be allowed to do this. And according to some, this is the reason why all of these halachas are here, on account of this halacha pertaining to Shabbos. And so how do we know this? Because it says, Shenemar, it says when Shimon and Levi attacked Shechem in their ruse as a retribution for having kidnapped and raped Dinah, it says that it was on the third day, even when they were in pain. So we see that the third day is still a painful time in the healing, and that's when they attacked. How do we know on Yom Kippur that they would take, I think it's called tongues of wool, basically a piece of wool dyed red, crimson red, that they would then tie that, wind that around the horns, the head of the goat that was sent out into the desert. For it says, it says if your sins will be crimson red, like snow, they will be whitened. We know on Yom Kippur you're not allowed to eat, you're not allowed to drink. What about, can you put lotion on? Can you put oils on your body? How do we know that lotions, the absorption of it into the skin is going to be the same as drinking and therefore prohibited? Even though we don't have a proof, we have a hint to it. For it says, it'll be like water coming into your innards and like oil into your bones. So you see that the Torah juxtaposes and compares, the pasuk compares the drinking of liquids, of water, and the absorption of oil that are smeared on. So the beginning, Gemara does say, Reisha Delikar Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. The first line in the Mishnah of Peleta Shechva Zera, that halacha, is not like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and Sefer Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. But the halacha about bris and healing the baby, that is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Why? The Ikar Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Tahara Shemanale. We know that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says that she is the third day. She's already tahor. It's only for the 2 days that there will be she'll be tameh in releasing the semen, the zera. So the first line cannot be Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and yet the halacha in regards to bris milah is the opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. So we have a contradiction in the Mishnah. We have 4 statements in the Mishnah, 4 different halachas, and the first halacha is not like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and the second halacha is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. So man the maiki tanoi, and so the one who says, okay, when you have multiple statements in a Mishnah and you have them according to different opinions, that's fine. Rebbe, in collecting the halachos, would collect the various opinions. So fine. So Tana Reisha Tahira Michael Kula Karbeleza. So if somebody does not want to assume that the various statements are according to different opinions, he's going to have to say that the text, the first line is going to be tahora, that she is tahor after the third day, in the third day of releasing the zera, the semen. Then it'll all fit Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. But one who has no issue with saying, no, the various statements, each statement is going to be according to a different opinion, and Rebbe collected it, so not a problem. So Reish Rabbanim, say for Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. So the first line could be the Chachamim, and the second will be Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. And where is this discussion? The Tana Rabbanim, we have a brisa. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says that a woman who releases zera after on the third day from relations, so at that point it's no longer viable, and therefore it's not going to be considered zera, and she's not going to be tummy. That's what Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says. Rabbi Yishmael pa'amim shehein dalad onas, pa'amim shehein hey onas, pa'amim shehein vav onas. Says, well, an ona is a day or night period. So from let's say sunrise to sunset, or from Alus HaShachar to Tzesa Kochavim, machlokas of what we saw this in Brachos. But in any case, so a day period, let's say for argument's sake, we'll just say from sunrise to sunset. That's a day period. A night period is from sunset to sunrise. So these 3 days can be 2 periods. It can be 4 periods, meaning 2 days can have a night and day. That would be if they had relations immediately prior to sunset on day 1, and that counts as the first day. The second day would happen momentarily after relations, and you'd only have 2 full night times and daytimes until you get to the 3rd day where it's no longer viable and would not cause tumah. Or if they had relations just before sunrise, that would be that there's 5 complete day or night periods. Or if they had it right at sunset at the beginning of the 3rd day, right at sunset, so you'd have 6 periods. And therefore he says that it's 3 days, but it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference when it happened in the 3 days. In the first day, you just need that day plus another 2 full days. However, Rabbi Kiva Omer la'olam hey. Now it's always 5 periods, meaning let's assume that it's 12 hours. So that you're going to have 60 hours, and it's going to be it's always going to be 60 hours. And it doesn't go by sunrise and sunset, but rather you can have partial time. So if it happened 2 hours into the day, that's when so 2 hours after sunset is when they have relations, and so that it'll go until 2 hours after sunrise. Which is the 5th, which is 5 full periods, in order for it to no longer be viable. And therefore, we have 3 opinions here: 2 full days, 1 full day, or 60 hours. Amru Rabbana Kamei Rav Papa, va'amri la Rav Papa l'Rava. So they said, okay, so what's this machlokas? So Bishlam, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Karabanan, the Amru Behei Avid Parisha. So Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who says that it only causes tumah for day 1 and 2, but not day 3. That's because he follows the opinion of the Rabbanan, who say that the mitzvah of separating came on Thursday. So therefore, only Thursday and Friday can cause tumah, but Friday night obviously could not cause tumah, because then she would be tamei on Shabbos as well, and the receiving of and Matan Torah and Har Sinai happened on Shabbos. So that would be futile. In the separation would have not helped her in any way. So therefore, everybody agrees, as we mentioned before, that Friday night is when the end of this tahara process had to happen, and she would not be, even if she released semen on Shabbos, it would not cause tumah. And since the obligation of separating came on Thursday, so only Thursday and Friday can cause tumah. So that's how he learns that only day 1 and 2 can cause tumah. For Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shmuel says no. He follows the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who says the Amar B'Dalet of Prisha, that the separation came on Wednesday, and therefore Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are the days that tumah could happen to her if she releases the semen, and that's why they had to separate on Wednesday already, so that she wouldn't be tummy. But on Shabbos, obviously, it would be no tumah. Ella Rabbi Akiva Kaman, but Rabbi Akiva, who says that it is a 60-hour process, 5 half-day periods. So whose opinion is he following? The Gemara, of course, he follows the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, that the mitzvah of Parisha the mitzvah of separation came on Wednesday. And so therefore Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are the possibilities of her becoming tummy, and that's why there needed to be a separation already on Wednesday. However, he learns that Moshe Rabbeinu always went up in the morning and always came down from Har Sinai in the morning. B'hashkama Allah d'chsiv. How do we know he went up early in the morning? For it says, Vayashkem Moshe b'boker vayala Har Sinai. As it says that Moshe went up in the morning, and he went up to Har Sinai. B'hashkama Yorad. And he came down in the morning. D'chsiv lech reid va'alisa. Go down and come back up. You and Aaron. Imach. Atav Aaron imach. So Makash Yurid al Aliyas. He was going down in the morning and coming right back up. That's the mitzvah that he would come up. And it's compared to going down and coming up, that it would be at the same time. After you read about Hashkama, so too we see that the going down and the coming up have to be in the morning. So therefore, on Wednesday, Rabbi Akiva learns on Wednesday, when did Moshe come down and tell Bnei Yisrael that they need to separate? It was in the morning. And so therefore it counts, and you have all day period of Wednesday, the night of Thursday and the day of Thursday, because the night always starts the day, right? And then the night of Friday and the day of Friday. So that's 5 complete periods. So this is where Moshe Rabbeinu learns that Moshe commanding Bnei Yisrael to separate at sunrise on Wednesday, tells us that there's 5 periods: the day of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the night of Thursday and Friday, because the nighttime of Wednesday had already passed. And that's how he learns that 5 12-hour periods is what separation is needed in order for Bnei Yisrael to have a proper separation, meaning so that the woman will not be tameh from releasing semen. So that's how he knows that after 60 hours, it's no longer viable and does not cause her to be tummy. And where it says, Lama le'lamemra, why would he have to tell them in the morning to separate? If they are at Har Sinai, they are in a state of Kedusha. And Va'amar Rav Huna, and Rav Huna said, Yisrael Kedushanim, Yisrael is in a state of Kedusha, and they would not have relations during the daytime. So the Gemara says, Amar Rava has already said, in a dark room, even during the daytime, it's permissible. And so he needed to tell them don't have relations on Wednesday in a dark room. Amar Rava, and Rava further said, some say Papa said, Talmud Chacham, that even if the room has light coming in, but Talmud Chacham, if he's a Talmud Chacham, you can just cover with his and make it dark with his cover, and that would be sufficient. So therefore, having relations by day is also an option, and so that Moshe needed to say already on Wednesday morning, before the day period began, no relations, so that they can have a complete 5 periods of day, night, or night to separate.
We saw in Brachos, we saw that Talmidei Chachamim should not be mitzuyim with their wives like Tarnagoyim. How does that fit here?
That only means they shouldn't be there constantly. Shouldn't have relations constantly every day. Is that what you're referring to?
It said something like that the Talmidei Chachamim shouldn't be mitzuyim during the day with their wives. That's
right,
all I understood.
Nothing about during the day. That was that just means
like Tarnagoyim.
Right, to be there constantly, every day. That's why Ezra instituted the mikveh before davening or learning for somebody that's a carry, in order that there be a consciousness of whether or not somebody have relations, whether it's a good time, and not just constantly be there. That's what
I mean. The whole Indian of the I mean, the beginning by the Mekubalim, that it's on Leil Shabbos by Chatzois. I mean, it's like a whole thing that they are purged from their wives from one Shabbos to the next Shabbos. I just wait.
That has nothing to do. That doesn't have anything to do with this. The ona of Talmud Chacham means his obligation to his wife is at least once a week. Onas Talmud Chacham and is once a week, and because Shabbos is oneg, his pleasure, and so they would do it on Shabbos. That's what the Gemara says. Or Shulchan Aruch says that a Talmud Chacham should have relations. His obligation of relations are Shabbos in order to have oneg on Shabbos. I assume that's what you're referring to. So now we're on Pei Vav Amid Beis. So the Gemara says, "Vatavula Yom Ninu." So even if they they would have had relations either on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever the opinion is of when Moshe would tell them, and that they would be tahor already by the time Shabbos came in. And she would go to the mikveh Friday night, but she had gone to mikveh on Shabbos, and we know that somebody that went to mikveh that day, they need to get to sunset. They need to get to Shkia in order for the next day, in order for the tahara to fully kick in, that they can eat kachim, that can eat truma, as we saw right at the beginning of brachos. The concept of teful yom, somebody went to the mikveh that day, cannot yet eat kachim, and so it's great that they were separated enough that there would be no tumah. But even if they went to the mikveh already, they're still teful yom, and a teful yom still is not fully tahor, if you would. Or they're fully tahor, they're not fully back to all status. So they'd be teful yom. Abaye bar Ravin, Rav Chanina bar Ravin, Amrit Havayu, Abaye and Chanina bar Ravin said, both of them said, Nitna Torah teful yom. Yes, this is to tell us that the Torah was given even to people that had gone to the mikveh that day. We see multiple times Chazal tried to tell us the tahara status, the great tahara status of someone who's already gone to the mikveh, even if they're not completely in matters of all halacha, they didn't get their status back, but nevertheless they gone to the mikveh, so they are tahor. And teful yom, as we saw, we can mention it because we just finished Seviras Omer, that the Omer specifically was harvested by people that were teful yom to show that the halacha is that teful yom counts, and various other halachas pertaining to teful yom. So too, the Torah was given to people that had gone to mikveh that very day. Yasim Merema Mekamar Lo Lahashmaita. Merema was teaching this halacha. Amali Ravina Merema. Ravina said to Merema, Nitna Ka'amras or Uya Ka'amras. When this was said, when Ravin and Abai bar Ravin or Chanina bar Ravin said this halacha, were they saying that actually that was the occurrence that happened, that people were teful yom, had gone to mikveh that day and had been tahor at the beginning of that tameh at the beginning of that day, and the Torah was given in such a state, or ru'uya, meaning the Torah is worthy of being given to people in that state, but nobody was because everybody had gone to mikveh already the day before. Amar le ru'uya kamin says the Torah is worthy to be given to people in a state of teful yom, but people had already been tahor the day before. So he said, well, they could have gone to the mikveh the night of Shabbos, and then they can get the Torah on that night. No, Hashem, they waited till the morning because Hashem didn't want to give the Torah in hiding at night. Just like Bnei Yisrael didn't leave Mitzrayim at night, they left in the morning. So Hashem said, I'm not giving the Torah in hiding, in the dark, but rather in full daylight, and so that everybody can know and hear and see. So from the start, it wasn't in hiding that I spoke. The Gemara says, okay, great. So then she didn't have to go to the mikveh at night. They could go to the mikveh in the morning, and then receive the Torah in the morning. So we could do both in the morning. Amar Rav Yitzchak said, people that were tahor already are waking up and they're going to gather around the foot of Har Sinai. And these are still going to a mikveh. They're looking for a body of water to tovel themselves. So therefore, Moshe said in time that they could have enough time to go to the mikveh at night, and in the morning was everybody was ready and would together as one go to the foot of Sinai to receive the Torah. Amar Chiba Rabbi Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Zudav Rabbi Yishmael. All this is the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Akiva. However, the Chachamim say that it was six full periods, because they follow the opinion of Rabbi Yossi that says that the command to separate was indeed on Wednesday, and like Rabbi Akiva, that Moshe came down early morning and told them this command to separate early morning. So they had the full day Wednesday, and Wednesday night, meaning halachic Thursday night, and Thursday morning, all of the daytime of Thursday, and the night that leads into Friday, and the night and all day Friday. But they didn't go to the mikveh Friday night, and so they had all of Friday night until Shabbos morning as well. So it's not 60 hours, but rather 72 hours, 6 full 12-hour periods. So they went to the mikveh Shabbos morning, and that's why Friday night the Torah wasn't given, not because Hashem didn't want to give it in hiding at nighttime, but rather because he's waiting for the people that were not yet Torah so that they can go to the mikveh Shabbos morning. Amar Rav Chisda machlokes shepirshim min ha'isha. The machlokes is only in regards to when semen comes out of a woman who had relations, and that's where the question is of whether it's still viable or whether it will cause tumah to her. But for a man, whenever it comes out from a man, not only is it tameh at the moment that it comes out, but also it'll remain a source of tumah as long as it's still moist, and it'll be a source of tumah even after he's released it. Masav Rav Sheshes. So Rav Sheshes challenged v'chol beged v'chol oira sheyi alav shechva zera. Any garment or any leather garment, a material that has a shechva zera on it, it's going to be tummy. Prat l'shechva zera shisrucha, which excludes. It has to be zera. It has something that can seed. But if it's been in a woman long enough, then it's srucha. It's no longer viable and cannot see. My lav shapir shemini ish. Wouldn't you say even after it's separated from a man, meaning he released it, was never in a woman, and it would also depend on whether it's still viable. Shapir shemini isha. The viability of the sperm in the semen is only going to be halachically material when it's released from a woman after relations. But when it's released from a man, it's not dependent on whether the sperm is viable, but whether it is moist or not. What about if a Jewish man had relations with a non-Jewish woman, and now this zera comes out of the non-Jewish woman? At what point does that lose its viability, and at what point do we say that it's not going to cause tumah? Do we say that it acts the same in a Jewish woman's body as a non-Jewish woman's body, or not? Mao Yisrael, that they give a mitzvah chava gufayu, akam the loy they give a mitzvah loy. Do we say that since Bnei Yisrael have focus on mitzvahs, and therefore their body acts differently, and after 2 days, 3 days, depending on which opinion, the sperm will no longer be viable. But that's not true for non-Jewish women. Or do we say no? Their bodies will also make sperm not viable on account of they eat non-kosher foods, non-kosher animals. And if you tell me that, yes, indeed, on account of that they eat non-kosher foods, their body causes the sperm to not be viable anymore. What about a sperm in an animal? Somebody did bestiality and then it came out. Would that cause tumah or not? Isha the isla proza masrechas, a woman who has a prosder, the hallway, meaning the vagina, so masrechas, that causes it to go bad. Aval behema, the less leprosder, but an animal that doesn't have the same canal, so therefore it's not going to cause the sperm to become non-viable. Odilma leshna, or perhaps there's no difference. So in the concept of tuma that comes from semen, that isn't coming directly from the man, but having been released in intercourse, then comes out. Is there any distinctions, or is this always the same halacha? Teku, the Gemara leaves it without an answer. Tishbi taretz kosher v'beis. So now we go back to the original question, the basis for the original question. The question was, how long do we say there's tumah for the releasing of zera, of semen, from the woman, and we base it. It's based on this machlokas of when the mitzvah prisha, the separation, was came to Bnei Yisrael. So as we'll see, everybody agrees, as we mentioned before. Everybody agrees that the Torah was given. The Har Sinai, the mitzvah of the Aseres Adibros was stated on Har Sinai on Shabbos, and which Zion Sivan, as we'll see, is one opinion that when Aseres Adibros was said on Sinai, happened on Shabbos on Zion Sivan. So it would be like this year, when not everybody agrees to the lead up to it. Tana Rabbana. So the Brisa taught, Bishishi b'chodesh nitna aseres adibros l'Yisrael. The first opinion says that Vav Sivan, the 6th day of Sivan, is when aseres adibros was spoken to Bnei Yisrael. Revelation at Sinai, Bnei Yisrael receiving aseres adibros happened on the 6th day of Sivan. However, Rabbi Yossi says b'shivabo. That is on the 7th day. So everybody agrees that it's Shabbos, but not everybody agrees which day of the month that was. Everybody agrees that on Rosh Chodesh, in the first day of Sivan, they came to Midbar Sinai. As it says, on this day, they came Midbar Sinai. So Bayom Hazeh, it says on the 3rd month of leaving Mitzrayim, on this day they came to Midbar Sinai. This day, obviously they came this day, whatever this day is. So what is B'chodesh Bayom Hazeh? Hazeh, to tell you, to compare it to HaChodesh Hazeh, on Rosh Chodesh, Ksiv Hasam, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. This day is to you the beginning of months. Ma'alahal Rosh Chodesh, Avkan Rosh Chodesh, just as the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh obviously was given on Rosh Chodesh, in that statement in Mitzrayim, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, this renewal of the moon is for you the beginning of months. So Hazeh, to tell you that Bnei Yisrael came to Midbar Sinai on Rosh Chodesh. And also everybody agrees that on Shabbos is when Torah was given to Yisrael, meaning that Aseres Adibros was spoken to Yisrael on Shabbos. So we have two pieces of information that are unanimous. Everybody agrees they came to Midbar Sinai, they came to the desert of Sinai on Rosh Chodesh, and Aseres Adibros, Maimed Har Sinai, was on Shabbos. It says, as it says, remember the day of Shabbos to make it holy, to sanctify it. As Moshe said, remember this day Just as that's in the midst of the day, so too in the midst of the day, in the day itself. So we compare and we say that it happened on Shabbos. Okay. So what's the machlokes? Ki pligi. So what's the machlokes? B'kviya diyarcha. When Rosh Chodesh was. Rabbi Yossi Sava b'chad b'shava ikba yarcha. B'chad b'shava le'amar lehu v'le midi. Rabbi Yossi says that actually on Sunday was Rosh Chodesh, but on Sunday he didn't tell them anything. So Sunday they got there. Sunday was Rosh Chodesh, but there was no commands because they had just traveled. They needed to rest and set up tent and relax, and therefore betrei b'shaba amalahu, and only on Monday, on the second day of Sivan, on the second day of on the next day after having arrived, that's when he told them, "Vatem tiyuli mamlechas kohanim v'god kodesh," and you shall be for me holy nation, nation of priests, a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. And this is what Hashem said to Moshe to tell Bnei Yisrael, and he told Bnei Yisrael. And we go on to Pezayim Amud Aleph. So B'Tlasa on Tuesday, Amalu Mitzvah Sakbala. On Tuesday, he told Bnei Yisrael, okay, now you have to make a fence around Har Sinai, not to go up on the mountain. Because on whatever he was told on Monday, he went down in the evening and told them to Bnei Yisrael. And then he gathered the people and he told them. And in the next morning, Hashem went up, meaning Tuesday morning. He went up, Moshe went up to Hashem and said, this is what the people said, they accept. And then Hashem said to Moshe, go back down and tell them, I'm going to come onto the mountain, and they have to separate the mountain. And they should be careful not to go up on the mountain. And sanctify today and tomorrow, which is the separation was on the next day. But Arba of it Prisha, the next day he came down and told them, separate. So that's on Wednesday. So according to Rabbi Yossi, they arrived on Sunday, which was Rosh Chodesh. Monday, they were told you will be a holy nation. On Tuesday, they were told separate from the mountain. And each day Moshe went up and said, Bnei Yisrael accept. And on a Wednesday, he came down and said, it's time to separate. And the Chachamim say, no, actually on Monday was Rosh Chodesh. And again, Monday, the day they arrived, they weren't told anything. But on Tuesday, first they were told the mission of being Mamlechas Kohanim v'God Kodesh, a nation of priests, a kingdom of priests, and a nation of holiness. And then Moshe went back and said they accept. The next day he came down and said the mitzvahs Hagbala. Arba, so on Wednesday was first when they got the mitzvah of separating from the mountain, of making a boundary around the mountain, the mitzvah's Hagbala of not going up on the mountain. And Behei, Ovid Prisha, and therefore on Thursday is when they got the command of separating from their wives. And therefore, everybody agrees Rosh Chodesh is when they came. Everybody agrees Shabbos is when Aseres HaDibros was spoken. The question is, do they arrive on Sunday? And therefore, Monday they got the first statement of being Mamlechas Kohanim. Second, on Tuesday, the Mitzvahs Hagbala, separation from the mountain. Wednesday, the separation from the spouses, and therefore you had the mitzvahs of separating on Wednesday morning. And then, and since by Shabbos you have to be Torah, so you have Wednesday day, Thursday, and Friday, and that's where Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says it's 3 days, and Rabbi Kiva says it's actually 5 half-day periods, 5 12-hour periods, and the Chachamim, as we saw earlier, say actually they didn't go to mikvah Friday night, went to mikvah Shabbos morning, so therefore it's 6 12-hour periods, and the Chachamim say no. That actually Rosh Chodesh was on Monday, and the first statement of you shall be, the mission, Mamlechas Kahanim V'Gad Kodesh, came on Tuesday, and separation from the mountain or the border on the mountain came on Wednesday, and separating spousal separation came on Thursday, and therefore you only have the 2 days, and by Friday night they have to be Torah already. So that's the machlokas. Mesave. So we ask a contradiction. V'kidashtem hayom u'machar. It says you will sanctify it today and tomorrow. That means it seems to say, since it only says today and tomorrow seems that this statement is on Thursday, and Moshe comes down and tells Bnei Yisrael, separate, and you will be sanctifying yourself today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday, and then by Shabbos you'll be Torah. So that the text that says in the mitzvah of separating, it says separate kidashtem hayom machar, you'll be sanctifying yourself today and tomorrow and wash your clothes. So we see that the separation was for those 2 days, and that's a support to the Chachamim and not to Rabbi Yossi, because it says that it seems to indicate that on Thursday when this was when this mitzvah was said, Kashal Rabbi Yossi. Amalach Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says you're right, that the statement was on Wednesday, and on Wednesday Moshe said, Hashem told Moshe, separate Bnei Yisrael for Wednesday and Thursday, and on Friday would be Matan Torah. Hosef Amalach Rabbi Yossi Yom Echad Hosef Moshe Medata. Moshe added 1 day of his own. The Tani we learned Gimel Dvarim Asa Moshe Medaita V'Hiskim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There are 3 things that Moshe did on his own account, and Hashem agreed and accepted Moshe's teaching. Hosef Yom Echad Medaita. And the first of the 3 is that he added a day to Har Sinai, to Matan Torah. That Matan Torah, that Har Sinai happened a day later than the original statement on account of Moshe. And we'll continue with this tomorrow, but this is an essential essence of Torah, that it comes with Torah Sheba'al Peh, the Torah of the teacher, and Moshe is adding a day. The entire Maimed Har Sinai, the revelation at Sinai and 10 Commandments, the Aseres HaDibros, only came at the time that the Chachamim, Moshe Rabbeinu, established that day. And we'll continue with it tomorrow, Bezos Hashem.